Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. It's a very special guest with me today. She is the CEO and founder of Revibe Beauty. Please welcome Taci. Hello, Taci. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. This is like my first interview. I'm like freaking out.
Yeah. Very glad to have you. But I definitely want to get started by asking, where are you from, and tell us about your upbringing.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Lived in a household with like five siblings. My parents working like three jobs each. I
Wow.
had a grandfather that didn't work didn't speak any English, only Haitian Creole. So
Mm.
you could tell I had a bit of an adventure with that. Let's see. I am the youngest, second youngest
Yeah.
in my family, with my younger brother. Is that I in a Haitian household, so obviously
Mm.
certain things such as anything not pertaining to engineering,
Right.
nursing, or lawyer, like they did not see anything else besides that. But I was honestly the oddball in the family,
Mm.
so that was always interesting. Like academics was not my strong suit, to be
Mm.
100% fair.
Yeah, I can relate to
All my yes, so all my
that.
siblings used to have like straight A's and straight B's, and I was average, always bringing home C's. And I don't know, academics was never my thing.
Mm.
I was always geared towards the creative side.
Right.
So especially like watching, it doesn't have to be cartoons, but watching TV, always trying to like reenact. I
Mm.
actually did want to be an actress. That
Mm.
idea got shot down.
Oh.
But I know I could sing I did sing really, really good, and I could actually really do act. But
Mm.
sometimes, like I said, if you weren't in those top three categories, it wasn't gonna work out. But that was fine. I ended up going
Mm.
to trade school in high school.
Right.
At the time, I really did want to be a chef,
Mhm.
but then certain things kind of geared towards that, and I guess it really didn't work out because I realized I actually do like baking more than actually being in the kitchen and the chef. But as I was
Wow.
pertaining to being a chef, I also discovered my love of writing. So
Mm.
it's like a lot of things kept bouncing off from me because it was just a creative outlet, and that was who I
Mhm.
am. Um,
Right.
so yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I've always been doing
Mhm.
stuff that involves with whenever I see something creative, like I get so
Mhm.
attached to it that I'm like, oh, I want to try it. So it's
Right.
like I went from being a chef, and then on the part time, I actually ended up being a writer. I did a few fan fiction stories. I didn't think they
Mm.
were really good until I found out that like over 11,000 people were reading my stories, and I was just like, oh wow,
Wow.
that's that was crazy. But also
Wow,
when I
that's
look at the story,
incredible.
yeah, I did not know that at all. Just one day, for some reason, I posted a story. I went to sleep. I woke up. All of a sudden, my email was flooded from the website saying, this person likes, this person comments, this person follows you now. And I'm just like, what's going on? But my life has really been just bouncing in and there. So after culinary, I was kind of getting, as an insecure teen, my mom struck fear into me, like, what happens if this happened in the kitchen and you can't do this or that or that? So
Right.
she was like, you need a backup plan. So I was just like,
Mhm.
okay, fine, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll go to college as an undergrad, not sure of what I'm going to do, and I'll figure it out. And
Mhm.
this is why I'm always forever grateful. It's like, this is where cartoons come in. It's because I was watching Edna and Eddie one day, and I was watching an episode. I'm like, he could have just done this and that and that. He could have made a lot more money instead of making it a scam. And then it
Right.
hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. Every time I watch a TV show, I always figure out like you could do this instead of that. You could
Mhm.
do this instead of that. And I'm like, I'll go in for business. It's
Right.
safe. Everybody does business. Everybody does a transaction. So I was just
Mhm.
like, oh, let me do business. So I did business in college.
Mhm.
And then at the time, I still didn't feel like I was happy because I was like,
Mm.
I don't see a lot of creativeness to it. It seems a lot more logic, aka like the left side of your brain. And I'm like, I'm the right side. I need a creative outlet. So once
Mhm.
again, I kind of just like I did a lot of creative things. So I tried to start my own little podcast with my friends. It was
Mm.
fun for a while. And then I ended up actually going back into writing where I was just like, I told one of my friends who I love to this day, I was just like, listen,
Mhm.
I'm going to write a book and I'm
Right.
actually going to publish it. I'm actually going to do it.
Right.
But it would be great if you were doing this with me because you're writing this book with me. And she looked at me, she's like, are you really serious about this? I'm like, yes. Are you down for this? And she's like, yeah, why not? So we actually did write a book, but then, you know, when I told like my family and stuff, they didn't believe me. They're just like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever you said. So we actually did self-publish a book back in 2018. And we got some feedback. Obviously, at the time, we were in, you know, we were new to the stuff. So obviously, there was still a lot of grammatic errors. And everything can't be perfect when you first try it out. Let's be real.
Right.
But we did start growing a fan base where people really did love our book. And even what's funny is my mom, I think I went to go answer the door and I heard my mom screaming and I'm like, what happened? She picked up the book, like a hard copy of my book. She's like, you wrote this? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. Like, and then she just started calling all my siblings. And then like, not even like a week later, all my siblings were like, hey, so I'm trying to write a book. Like, can you teach me some stuff? So there's that. And then after I graduated college, I was like, I felt burnt out of writing because I was just like, there was like this intense pressure where technically you're supposed to like take your time with it. So I felt burnt out and I just feel like right now I'm going to pause on the authorship and it's like, what's my next venture? And by the time, you know, I got out of college, that's when technically COVID hit. So while I was home during 2020, I mean, other than all the amazing business people that started, and I always applaud them for it, you know, I was thinking about it and I was just like, I think it's time for me to start a business. And it's just like, what kind of business? So I had to really dig deep and also figure out like, what's my brand? How do I want to perceive? How do I want people to perceive my brand? How do I reach my certain audience? So literally throughout 2020 and 2021, I did massive research. I had to do a lot of experiments, figure stuff out, do a lot of research. And then by like the beginning of 2022, I was like, okay, that's it. No holding back. I was able to get a retail job. So I was like, okay, I can like put some money aside and actually do this thing. So by 2022, I started officially doing like the official paperwork for Revibe X Beauty. And I was just like, you know what? It's going to be a cartoon brand. Why? Because I want this brand to not only be my baby, but I want people to also have fun with it. And and here we are now, me actually now from all that to now being an official business owner.
Yeah, that's really amazing. But I definitely want to get into just in regards to, you know, having your own line of lip glosses, which are inspired by different cartoons. So if you had a top 5 in regards to cartoons, what would they be and why?
Oh, you're asking me a very hard question right now. This is a hard question because you don't understand how much I watch cartoons like religiously. Like people who love Disney so much, I'm like a cartoon girl. I would say number 1 would be Courage the Cowardly Dog. Every time when I say that, people are like, that show gave me nightmares as a kid. I'm like, listen, it gave me nightmares too, but I always end up watching it again because you have like this dog whose name is Courage, but he's a scaredy cat. And weird things happen, but what he does is that despite him being scared, he will go through challenges just to make sure that people are okay, like people he loves are okay. And I feel like with that show, it resonated with me so much because it kind of just reminds me of life. Things can be so scary and you don't even know, but you have the opportunity to go and scared and like learn from it, or you can
exactly.
So I feel like no matter any time when someone asks me that question, I'm always like, Courage the Cowardly Dog is still my favorite. I love that dog to death. It's my number 1 ride or die. Number 2 would be Totally Spies. I love Totally Spies because you have 3 girls that were like spies and kick butt, you know, during the night. And they'll be like average teenagers. I actually thought that's how my high school life would be like. I was so wrong. I was waiting. I'm like, okay, Jerry, you could go ahead, whoop me anytime. I'll volunteer as tribute. But I just felt like, you know, as a kid, I wanted to see more women kick butt in like shows. And when I saw Totally Spies, I was just like, okay, I'm jealous of Clover for being so popular. I want Sam's brains, but then I feel like Alex is more me because I'm like, she's more cartoonish, she's more like lively and joyful, and I'm like, that's me. I'm Alex. Granted, I would love to have Sam's brains so my parents could be happy for me that I have honor. So Totally Spies is number 2. Number 3, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Samurai Jack. That
Samurai Jack.
show was Samurai Jack. That show was amazing.
Yeah.
And I just felt so hypnotized by the artwork. And like,
Mhm.
come on, you have to admit, like the intro title, the intro song, that's a catchy song.
Yeah.
I love Samurai Jack. He's awesome. I think because also that he's in a new place. He doesn't know,
Mhm.
but he's still learning. Again, like if he geared
Right.
that towards life, like it's perseverance.
Mhm.
Fourth would be Conan Kids Next Door.
Right. Yeah. That show,
You have you have a
amazing.
group of kids and they're like spies and trying to fight adult tyranny. I really thought I was the Conan Kids Next Door member back at the time. But then when I had a certain number, I found out there was a character who was like a betrayer of that number.
Mhm.
I'm like, you don't deserve to be this number. Replace me with that person.
Mhm.
I love Kids Next Door. And then finally, my fifth one would have to be, oh, that's pretty hard. Wait, I'm not. I'm gonna say Kim Possible because again, it's like that female empowerment
Mhm.
teenager by day, and then like she
Right.
does all this cool, awesome stuff. And she was also a cheerleader, which I wasn't a big fan of cheerleading, but I'm like, you do you got this. So I would say
Yeah.
those are my top five.
Yeah. Those are a lot of my favorite cartoons as well. Like an honorable mention, I would say it's Cole Lyoko. I
Oh,
watched
that
it
I
all
was
the
about to
time.
say that. Yep. Me and my cousins would pretend like we were on Koi Loco all the time in our backyard. Be like, who's
Mhm.
Ailita? Who's Jeremy? Who's this person?
Right.
It was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah, like that was such an amazing show. You had like Ulrich, you had Alita, you had a few other people I forgot. I forgot the guy with the blonde and purple hair. I liked him. He was
Odd.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
odd.
odd.
Yeah.
I
He
love him.
he yeah, he was like fun with the cat paws, and he would shoot the little
Oh
darts.
I always wanted Yumi's fans just to go
Yeah,
and
Yumi,
bring
like,
it back.
just throw the fan. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's really, really cool. But I definitely want to get into that you have your own mascots. But I definitely want to, talk about that, because what I find so remarkable about you is that you have your own like female empowerment characters, like how you talked about before with some of the cartoons that, have that female empowerment theme to it. But I definitely want to get into like, why did you come up, like what was the whole process behind, you coming up with your mascots, and why did you come up with mascots?
So when Revive X Beauty was just pen and paper, I wanted something that would stand out because I think that's
Mhm.
the biggest thing when you start a business, you want to find a way to stand out. And I'm
Right.
thinking, as a cartoon brand, how can I bring this
Mhm.
vision to life to show people that, hey, I'm doing beauty inspired by cartoons? And I'm just like, why not just make it like, add mascots to it? And I realized at
Mhm.
first, the first few mascots were different sides of me.
Right.
So my very first artwork, when I reached out to the artist, I was like, hey, here's my picture. Can you make her cartoon? I wear
Mhm.
plaid. Make sure she's wearing plaid. You can give her a cute little bandana and just make her curious, because that's how I always was. I was always curious about life, especially when things
Right.
creative. So when she did that, I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. Um, every single mascot that I did, it had a meaning behind it.
Right.
So with my main mascot, Millie, I actually wanted to be a twin because after like
Mhm.
watching Sister
Right.
and stuff like that, I was like, I wonder what would life be like if I had a twin. So I was just like, they're basically a part of me. So Millie is my happy side who doesn't really like to see the wrong. She always likes to see the bright side of anything. Even if the
Mhm.
situation is tough, she's like, she can
Right.
turn it around and be like, hey, if you do this,
Mhm.
so this is a positive outcome.
Right.
Melanie, on the other hand, she's the I don't care less. You can't hurt my feelings because I'm numb, I'm immune. Like it's not like a bad thing, but it's just like I have my own life.
Right.
I don't need to be traumatized. I don't need no toxic people. Like,
Mhm.
and those two are very close. So I feel like with my
Mhm.
mascots, they're each a part of me. For example, like when I first started the launch, I realized for my mascots for Codename Kids Next Door, originally Revive was supposed to launch in March,
Mm.
but because of a business mistake that I did, it got postponed. So
Mm.
for March, I was like, I want something that shows off that I wanted to be diverse
Mhm.
and also have fun with it, but also empower women. So I was thinking
Right.
like, what kind of show can I do? So hence Conan Kids Next Door came into my mind, and I'm just like, we're gonna give all of these characters a glow up, but we're gonna make them different international women. So, for example, like number one, he's bald, but I was like, let's make him into a Muslim woman. You know, give him like the head scarf.
Right.
You know, number three still the same. Number three and number five got glow ups, but like all the guys in the show just ended up getting like a completely different transformation. So like number four is known for his tough and like tough exterior. So I was just like, who else is like very known to be tough? Like not stereotypically, but like who else is known to be very tough? And I'm like, Latin women. I'm like, they got that flavor. They got that spice. So I was like, okay, let's change that. You know, number two ended up being a very plus size woman, but she's very smart in technology. You know, and then it's just fun doing makeup because honestly, I feel like it just brings a lot more fun and joy to people when they see the artwork and they're just like, oh, this is so cute. Right. I feel like it was a really big need to have mascots in my brand.
Right. Yeah, that's how, you know, like I said before about what you're doing for your brand, because you have different characters that represent different type of lip gloss flavors. And, you know, that's what reminds me of like Asian products, like specifically like Korean products. You look at like a beauty product like from Korea, or you look at a nail product, they have a character or a mascot that represents that product. You know, say if they have like banana flavored lotion, you look at the brand from Korea called Tony Moly. So they have, you know, mascots. They have like the peach characters, like, oh, peach lotion, or, you know, banana lotion, you know. So, you know, that's really cool that you're doing something totally different that no one else is really, you know, like thinking about.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun idea. And I know right now people are seeing like a lot of women, but like don't get that confused, because trust me, some guys are going to be showing up real quick in the future. It's not just women, it's also a lot of things. And I really wanted to show that, because especially with one of the characters from Kids Next Door, I was like, she's a tough girl. You know, she's a really tough girl. So I was like, what happens if she went into the military, but she lost her arm? So like one of her arms is like now a robotic arm. So I was just like, I'm trying to find a way to show a lot of diversity to the mascots and stuff like that, because I know what it's like to not feel like you're not being representative. So I'm trying to do that, but also in a very respectful way, so it doesn't make it look like, you know, I'm trying to be over sexualizing your race or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. But I definitely want to get into this other topic, because the slogan for your brand is called "Unleash Your Inner Wild Child." So, what does this slogan mean to you, and how does this apply to the mission of the brand?
So, unleash your inner wild child. I came up with that because I realized people, especially my age, if you were born in like the 90s to like the early 2000s, you already know by now that you're an adult. There's no escaping it. And right now, your brain is like only fully wrapped on adult things. Bills, work, you're tired. Sometimes you don't want to go out as much, and so on and so forth. So when I wanted to create a makeup brand that was inspired by cartoons, I wanted you to feel that nostalgia when you were a kid again. So I feel like Unleash Your Inner Wild Child is just like, just go crazy with makeup like we used to. Like pretend like you're a child again and have fun. Like say you're sneaking into your mom's room and just putting on makeup just for the fun of it. You can go high glam, you can go cosplay. It doesn't really matter. I just want you to have fun with it. And that's why I feel like Unleash Your Inner Wild Child was so important to me, and also was my mission, because you know, when I was doing research, I realized that a lot of the time society expects at least women of color to wear like nudes. Okay, they don't really expect the bold, outrageous colors, and like a lot of women, you know, sometimes they do like the nudes, and that's fine. But there's some women like myself, I don't see myself wearing nudes a lot of the time, because sometimes I always have to put like that pop of color on my lips, because it's just it makes it feel right. It just starts to feel right. So it's just like I want people to have fun with makeup again. Just for once, like, don't worry about the bills. Like, the moment you see these cosmetics and it's like, oh, it's inspired by this cartoon, like, in your brain, you're like, I remember watching this as a kid. Oh my God, this was so much fun. I'm like, I want to watch it now. It's like, imagine someone who's like in their 80s and they're like, I still remember watching Bambi when it came out. You know, I'm still like a diehard Disney fan. I kind of want that same thing, but with cartoons.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
really,
was
really
the whole
cool.
purpose. Yeah, so that was the purpose behind the slogan, and then like my brand, like I said, it's just for people to be outside of society's thinking box, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I could totally agree with that because I like, playing with like lipsticks and, different colors. I like a red lipstick, like a good red lipstick. It is,
Hmm.
make it pop. You know what I mean? Especially with, our skin tone. We could rock like almost any color, blue.
We can, and trust me, all you just need is a good lip liner, and you can
Right.
pop that right on, and you're gonna be fine. And I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people either don't know that or they're too afraid to,
Right.
and that's absolutely fine. But sometimes like I'll go. I mean, when I first started my makeup journey, I actually wore like this really bright teal lipstick. Granted, I didn't know about lip lining at first, but I wore this really bright teal lipstick, and I was just, I'm down for this. And that's when, the whole point
Mhm.
of Revive X Beauty kind of started, is because
Mhm.
a random person came up to me and were just like, you shouldn't be wearing that for someone with your skin tone. And I was just like, excuse me? And I'm just like, I'm gonna wear it anyway. Thank you for
Right.
your opinion, but I'm gonna wear it anyway. So
Yeah, rock it
yeah,
anyway.
I'm a rock it anyway. So it's kind of fun when I get to try different lip colors that I normally
Mhm.
don't see myself wearing, and I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute, why does this look so good?
Mhm.
What's going on?
Yeah, but I definitely want to go ahead and switch gears, and I want to go ahead and touch on, about your process, because what I like about, what you do as well is that you show your process of how you make your lip glosses. So how important is it to really showcase that process of how you create your lip glosses? And I feel like that's something that not a lot of brands really do, especially, high end, makeup brands. They don't really do that very much. It's, like how you're doing it.
So the reason why I do those, let's make lip gloss videos where you're really up and close to seeing the process of what I'm doing, is because I want the audience to see it from my point of view.
Hmm.
So it's like every single time if I say like a yes or no, it's like asking the audience, like, this is what I'm thinking in my
Hmm.
head. Should this go? Should this not go? Like, I don't know. But
Right.
honestly, I feel like every time I do the lip gloss making videos, I just want people to follow along on my journey, whether
Right.
it's lip gloss or, something in the future. Like I've even shown people
Hmm.
the process of me making eyeshadows, for example, and like it is not
Hmm.
easy. It's like a lot of practice, but when I
Hmm.
do lip gloss, for some reason, I just want to show people what it looks like when you're making lip gloss. I'm trying to break it down as easy as I can possibly do it, because
Hmm.
when I tried looking up how to make lip gloss at my time back in 2016, a lot of there weren't really a lot of videos on how to make lip gloss, and this is before I even
Hmm.
found like really good vendors for it. And a
Right.
lot of the times the searches would bring you to like private labels, which would cost you boku money. And as a broke
Right.
college student at the time, I was like, I can't afford this. So it's,
Hmm.
I feel like my videos also help people if they're inspired to make their own lip gloss. That's a-okay. You can go ahead and
Hmm.
do it. You can check out like the colors
Right.
that I have and see like what happens, and then like you can let your creativity run. So it's like, what happens if
Hmm.
I like for some reason you see my video and I'm doing like a pink lip gloss and you're like, well, I wonder how that would look, and then it would kind of inspire you to do that. So basically, when I do
Hmm.
like these makeup lip gloss making videos, it's just to show you my perspective. So like, what am I thinking? How does
Right.
this resemble a character?
Right.
Um, and so on and so forth. So if, for example, I had someone reach out to me and they were saying like, you inspired me to make my own lip gloss business, and I was
Okay.
like, oh, that's
That's cool.
great. And I was like, that's great. And she's like, do you have any advice for me? And I told her, you know what, honestly, just be original and, experiment with
I
colors.
want to go ahead and really get into this other question. Speaking of, in terms of advice, I definitely want to ask, like, for someone who's just starting a lip gloss brand, what are some words of advice you give for someone who wants to market their brand and try to gain customers?
I would pretty much give you three, or maybe no, four, actually, four.
Hmm.
Number one, I would say prepare to fail. Sometimes things will work out, and sometimes, a lot of times, it won't. So that's number one. Number two is to always learn.
Hmm.
It's a never ending process when you're in a business.
Hmm.
So you have to always learn new things. I know there's always updates with Instagram. There's probably new things with TikTok. You just have to keep learning and use that to your advantage. Number three, and I think a lot of people do say this, but not a lot of people will like support you. But you have to understand, like, you know, there's a difference between people who are supporting you and then there's people who won't support you, because there'll be people where if you tell them your plans, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'll still buy from you. And then the moment you launch and you tell them like, hey, you know, it's here, like you'll hear nothing from them. Versus like people that you don't know and they actually give you a chance and they buy from you, and then it turns out they love what you end up being. They end up being like an OG, like ride or die customer.
Right.
And then I would say the fourth one is honestly just be original.
Right.
I've seen small businesses where they've done videos and they see that people steal from them. Like they'll steal their content straight up from TikTok or Instagram, and they'll try to pass it off as their own. And it's just like, it's not fun. Because it's also like being a cheater in school where you work so hard on this essay and someone just decided to rip off your entire essay, just like, erase your name and put their name on it. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Just be original with it. Give people your story as to why you started the brand. It's not for like a quick cash grab. It's like, it's not a quick cash grab. Just say like, hey, this is my story. This is my beauty brand. This is what I do. So I would say like those four things. That would be very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is to touch on that, you know, I like how you added about, you know, about people, you know, stealing work, because that's what's happening now, like with artists and, you know, creatives in general. Like, you know, there's people that's stealing people's artwork and saying, oh, it's mine and things like that. And, you know, that's why I think, to me, that's why you sign it or have like a logo, you know, to where people can't steal it. So, you know, that makes things easier. And because I see a lot of people post artwork, especially, you know, I don't know if you heard about NFTs or anything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, like there's NFT artists that are out there like selling their work, you know, like one of one as NFTs. But the thing is that, you know, with some of the artists, they just don't sign their work. So I just think, to me, is either sign your work or put a logo on it so that way people don't take it.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's basically what I would have to do for my mascots, especially when I'm revealing the artwork. I always talk to the artist first, and even though I pay to make sure that the artwork is mine, you know, I still let her post the artwork too, because you know she's a really big part of how Revibe X Beauty is coming to be. So especially when I post the artwork, I always have to make sure I put my logo right there. So then, you know, people don't be sketchy and try to steal it. And then when she posts it, then she also has her, you know, author signature on, like her artist signature on it too. So
Yeah, right, exactly. But I want to ask this one question in regards to just beauty standards. So what is your take in regards to just about beauty standards in society, especially like Eurocentric beauty standards, and how, you know, society now is breaking away from that and it's getting more diverse? Like, what's your take on that in terms of like beauty?
I feel like I wish it happened sooner and
Agreed.
earlier. Because like I said, at the time when I first started my makeup journey when I was like 19, a lot of people weren't really keen on women of color wearing like these really bold outfits, like bold lips,
Right.
but it could be like, you know, bold makeup. And it kind of like, it crushed my self-esteem, because, you know, starting off, I know everything wasn't perfect and I was still learning, but it still
Right.
kind of crushed my self-esteem a bit. So, you know, but the fact that it's starting to like diversify more is actually a good thing,
Right.
which is actually, it's really, really good, because, you know, it's now showing that we can actually progress in the beauty standards, in the beauty world. And I know that, you know, sometimes in the beauty world, it doesn't have that companies, they have some trouble. Influencers, beauty influencers, we know about all the scandals and stuff like that. But
Right.
honestly, we can make it our own option to make the beauty community and the beauty standard, you know, a safe haven once again.
Right.
Especially like, I wouldn't say like always follow the scandal and the drama and the toxic, but like if you feel like, you know, there's too much of that, then make your own little make your own little idea of the beauty. We're here for love. We're not here for hate. You know, there's no scandal. And I get the whole thing with like sponsorships and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people want to get that money. But you know, that's the idea. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with me, it's like even if I did beauty brand ambassadors, I would be like, hey, here's the product. I need you to give me like a brute honest opinion, like
Right.
review it. Because
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants I don't want like my future brand ambassador to be like, oh my gosh, this product is so good when it's clearly not. Which is
Mm-hmm.
why like my products go through like a rigorous like testing. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what product I do, I always have to test it. I test it on me, then I test it
Mm-hmm.
on someone
Right.
who's a professional makeup artist,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll give it to me straight like it doesn't work or it does work. So like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I feel like it's good that the beauty community is expanding, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy for it. I just wish it started sooner, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that because and one thing that I will say is that with Rihanna, when she did Fenty Beauty and she did all those shades, like that was a game changer. You know, it
That was
was like
definitely an inspiration.
yeah, yeah, it was a huge inspiration, you know, and she set the tone for a lot of beauty brands to be like, yo, like there's different shades of, of women from different complexions and, things like that. So I like how she did a lot of those shades, for each, type of woman.
Yeah, I've realized that when it came to Revive X Beauty, I kind of had to look when I did the research. I kind of had to look into Fenty and see what they did right, and see
Mhm.
how they were geared to like different women and different women of color and everything like that. So I
Mhm.
did like she's a really big inspiration to me and to my brand. Like
Mhm.
I give her big props because thanks to her, like, you know, it wasn't I wouldn't say it's a blueprint, but
Mhm.
because I'm not trying to like steal any of her work or anything. It's not like a blueprint or anything like that. But if
Right.
you like honestly starting a lip gloss business or even cosmetic business, if you need something that you know for a fact that you want to diversify to people and be like a safe haven in the beauty community, Fenty,
Mhm.
how they're doing it. So
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Fenty Beauty is the example, absolutely. But I definitely want to go ahead and ask, like, if you could map out the future, where do you see your brand 5 to 10 years from now?
hmm. in 5 years, I do want Revive to be known for the cartoon inspired brand
Right.
and just have people have fun with my makeup and just, you know, showing you all these different types of cool looks. Honestly, just
Right.
gain. I just want people to know about Revive
Mhm.
and just let them know, like, hey, back your childhood cartoons and we put them in makeup so you can have as much fun as
Mhm.
possible with it. 10 years,
Definitely do. I would love to do a collaboration with Cartoon Network, depending on the cartoon and hopefully that I've seen it.
Mhm. Right.
But definitely would love to do a collaboration with them and just have fun with it.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be really, really cool. But that'd be really cool to do a collab with like Cartoon Network. That'd be really, really cool. Do like a whole line of
That
lip
would be my
glosses.
happiest day. That'd be my happiest day. I'll take a picture. I'll do like a little vlog. I'll be like, I will forever save this in my memory for as long as I'm old. I'm like, I did a collaboration with Cartoon Network.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, totally. But definitely with outside being an entrepreneur of owning Revive Beauty, what are some things that you love doing to like decompress?
Um, so for decompression, when I feel like it's too much, for at least for me, I tend to just put on my earbuds and listen to some Janaea Keiko.
Mhm.
There's a song in particular that she sings, which I feel like is very motivating, but it's also very soothing. I
Mhm.
love that song. But it's mostly that, or sometimes I'll turn off my TV and just like mute my phone and just write, just to journal,
Mhm.
just express how I feel, or even sometimes, despite how it's very cold right now, but normally when it's
Right.
like warmer weather, I would just go for a walk and just decompress. Or sometimes just go to like your nearest, I wouldn't say Starbucks, I'm not a Starbucks girl, but like go to like a nearest cafe
Right.
and just sit there, eat some breakfast. You can just be by yourself and just enjoy
Yeah.
it. Read a book. So I would say those are a few ways for me to decompress, honestly. So
Yeah, that's really, really
outside of my
amazing. Yeah, that's really, really cool. But I definitely want to go ahead and end this off by where can people find your social media and how can people support Revibe Beauty? Tell us about the newest collection that's out now and other upcoming things that you're working on.
Yeah, so you guys can go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Revibe X Beauty. Same thing on TikTok as well. I do post a lot more videos on TikTok than I do on Instagram. So our recent collection recently dropped, our Valentine's Day collection. It's like a love-hate type of theme. So, depending if you're a lover or a heartbreaker, we got that too. So, yeah.
All right, that's really, really amazing. Well, thank you so much, Taci, for jumping onto the show. What you're doing is absolutely great. I love your brand. I love how it's so unique. And like how I said, I love the mascots that you have for your brand as well, especially for the packaging. And I love the packaging too, because it's very like a lavender, like pastel. Like it's really, really cool. So, thank you so much for jumping onto the show. This was wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I was like trust me, I was like breathing heavy, like, oh my God, am I gonna do a good job? Like, oh my God. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Be sure to check out my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye-bye.